here's the deal. This might be bribery. Now, I'm not camera ready, but I need help. Do I really need help? Not really. It's fine. But I want you here. So I had a friend tell me that if I made a video and I put my beautiful face on it, you would stay. You would subscribe. You would subscribe. You wouldn't forget this time. It's awkward. I knew it would be. Hey y'all, I'm Crystal, the energetic alchemist, and this is Going Light, where we talk all things energy, alchemy, and ascension. Hello, 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 everybody. How are you doing today? I am so excited to come today and sit down and record this and just kind of talk about one of my favorite times of the year, Lionsgate. Lionsgate season begins amplifying around July 28th. It peaks on August 8th, and it closes on August 12th. Now, I don't know if it's just me or because I'm a Leo, but I felt this energy coming in back in July, and it has just been getting stronger and stronger and stronger. I am needing so much rest, so much sleep. It's like every time I go to create something, the brakes are being pushed and I'm being forced back into put energy on yourself, put energy on your inner transformation, and just really focusing on myself at this time. So I can already feeling it getting stronger. I can't wait to see what the 8th is going to bring. And then, of course, the day that Lionsgate closes is my birthday, so I'll be celebrating receiving on that day. But this is a time that is said to really activate the opportunities that we have for deepening our connection between the physical and spiritual aspects of our own being and this reality, our experience within this reality. So it's said that the veil is very, very thin, and there's a lot of opportunity to amplify what gifts you already have, tap into gifts that may be showing up, and overall just kind of anchor in yourself and really settle in. During this time, our sun and Sirius is in the same alignment in our sky, and so it creates this gateway that's allowing a flood of activated light codes to really surround the planet and surround humanity. Now, these light codes are activating more of our star planet or our home planet DNA or memory, and it's also really activating our higher dimensional DNA and memory to become more prevalent in our body and in our conscious expression here and now. So it's just overall a really profound time in the spiritual community to hone in on whatever you are learning, whatever you are coming into at this time, allowing yourself to really set aside some practices or some ritual for yourself to dive in and either clear things out of the way that you've maybe been letting slide for a little while, or really dive in and amplify and get into some practices that maybe you haven't been setting aside time for, and just let yourself bask in this opening. Lionsgate opens up a lot of opportunities for each of us to really begin to experience and bring forward our inner harmony. As we've gone through the clearings of our inner child and healing our past traumas, we have grown a new idea of who we are. And this Lionsgate season is a perfect time to be able to bring that inner knowing, that inner balance, that inner harmony forward, and allow ourselves to really restore also the balance between our inner divine masculine and our divine feminine. Whatever polarities we have, really bringing them into a sense of balance, a sense of harmony, and seeing what that feels like now in this new energy that we are in. Every year during this time, I generally go through really massive shifts. And what I've noticed is that the shift will begin around Lionsgate. I'll feel it, I'll notice it, I'll start to have some sensations of what's going on inside of me and start to get an understanding, even though I won't have total clarity, which is really normal with most activations. I will just start to get some preface energy, some energy kind of saying, hey, this is what's going on. Allow yourself to kind of be easy. If you notice this coming up over the next few weeks, this is your process. And then in the fall, what I start to notice is that I am actually manifesting and bringing into the physical whatever I felt in my energy field around the time of Lionsgate, which I get so excited about. I always know it's generally mid-October, the end of October, and even sometimes leading up to the 11/11 portal, but it's generally well before that. And I think that's just because my guides want to give me enough time and space to kind of recoup before my next big gateway. You know, as I always say too, these gateways are times to really hone in and focus in on whatever the gateway itself may be activating or allowing for. But I also must say, please never make these gateways more powerful than yourself. Your own inner energy can be activated, focused upon, and amplified at any point in time. And this gateway is not doing more for you than you are doing for yourself. So anytime that you just feel like maybe you need a restart, maybe you need a recalibration to source or your higher self, you can set in place a 3-day, 10-day, whatever you choose, period of time where you allow yourself to dive in deeper, maybe do practices in a longer period of time or more consistently, and see what revelations you have, what inner openings you have. These gateways are really powerful, they're really beautiful, but there is absolutely nothing that is more powerful, more opening, more supportive than you just being in alignment with you. So yes, using that energy during these times, that focus on yourself and on your inner path at these times, it is amplified and it is powerful, and I don't want to take away from that. But I also want people to know that what is powerful during these times is you. And if you weren't there doing the work, these times wouldn't be powerful. You know, for the people who may be just kind of chilling and bebopping through their day, unaware of the things that are going on right now, is this powerful gateway going to amplify them and move them the way it is going to some of the other collective that may be more aware? No, they won't feel it. They won't experience it. Definitely not in the same ways that we will. So there is something to be said for just you being present in these energies and what your awareness is bringing to the table. A lot of times on this ascension journey, I think we get so caught up in seeking information and finding understanding that we don't allow ourselves to be enough exactly where we are. And there is something very powerful in accepting your path exactly where you are at this time, being really proud of that, surrendering to that, basking in it, and finding fruitfulness and gratitude in it. It sheds a whole nother light on this ascension path. So you don't always have to try so hard. And if right now in these energies you need to just lay down and receive, please do so. Like I said, you are always here for you. From this point forward, you can't unawaken yourself. So if right now is not the time for you, you've got all kinds of crazy things going on, but you'd really like to participate in some openings and some advancements in your energy, set something aside when you have some time in another week or so. You know, as we go into the higher realms, time is irrelevant, truthfully. And so this is why I speak to a lot of people that I work with about being your own portal and being your own gateway. I think there is so much beauty in creating a ritual and creating structure for yourself to partake in these new energies and understand and play and just be presently observing these new energies. I don't want to lead anyone in a direction that says you need this portal, because I don't believe that. We need ourselves, and ourselves are what is being amplified during this time. And you can amplify yourself at any time. But there is an opportunity to bring forward a lot of inner harmony, a lot of balance in your own inner polarities. And if you hone in on this, even if it's just a few minutes at night before bed or a few minutes early in the morning, I feel you're going to notice a lot of shifting and rearranging and beautiful energy coming in. For a lot of people in the spiritual community, the Lionsgate season can be almost like the new year in a lot of traditions, or in a lot of other, cultures and celebrations and such. It's just such a beautiful time to focus on what's really opening up within us and what we're really building and doing here, what we're doing together as a collective and what we're doing as individuals in our own lives. What I noticed during my Lionsgate seasons is that I tend to always have an accelerated ascension. I tend to have quick openings. I tend to integrate things very quickly, find understanding with things very quickly. And just kind of move on. And while I like it, it is exhausting. I will say that. I find myself very tired, at least this year. I don't know that that's every year. I don't know that I pay attention to being tired. But this year, I definitely feel like I'm needing a lot of rest right now. Things are moving very quickly within me. Things are coming up. Topics are coming up. Old inner child debris kind of rising to the surface, and me going, oh, nope, that's not mine. I'm not connecting to that anymore. It's a very accelerated pace of having a new awareness, allowing that awareness to settle, like, whoa, what just was that? Okay, let it in. And then finding that understanding of why that's being present in my life. There's this sense of being a people pleaser in my past self. And so I had some feelings, some sensations coming up. And I was feeling myself getting triggered, like, but they don't know what I've been through. They're putting an expectation on me and they don't understand. And I found myself quickly going, oh no, I haven't been there in a long time. And I'm not letting this situation bring me into those thought patterns. So I just kind of took a step back and remembered my truth. And my truth is that I don't owe anybody anything. And even if that's hard for some people in my experience to understand, that's my truth. And I will not ever again, sometimes I do, like this energy that's coming up and out, but I will never be blind to sacrificing my own needs for another person. And, that can be taken very lightly and that can be taken very deeply. But it's just a very beautiful thing to have it move so quickly, to have some of these recognitions come into my life so quickly, to be integrated so quickly, and I'm just able to move on. I enjoy that kind of elevation. I enjoy that leveling up. It's not as painful as it is when, maybe I used to get into that mental battle and those mental loops and get stuck in some of those places. So when the Lionsgate energy is accelerating that movement, I just find myself surrendering a little more, surrendering easier to what's coming up and out. And I enjoy it. I definitely enjoy that. One of the other things that I've been noticing during Lionsgate seasons is that I'm accessing a higher consciousness. I'm connecting really, really strongly. And I've noticed that my connection is so strong to my higher self during this time. But my higher self does not want me to create for others in any way, shape, or form. She's very adamant at you have to be focusing on yourself. You have to be focusing on your inner development and your own inner practices and seeing where this can take you. And if there's some things that get produced off the side of that, wonderful. But my main focus is on this higher connection, this higher consciousness that I'm tuning into during these Lionsgate energies year after year. I think if there's one thing I would be able to go back and tell myself maybe 5 years ago during this time, just meditate. Just take some time in the morning and put on some music and let your body just float away and let yourself tune into those higher consciousness where your body doesn't exist so much, and then come back into your body and go enjoy a nice breakfast and some time outside and let it all sink in. There's just a heightened connection during this time, and you don't have to do much to receive it. The more you open, the more you will receive, of course. But if you're on a time crunch, you have things to do, and you're dealing with maybe some other pieces of your life right now, and that's not a thing that you can just make space for multiple times a day or throughout the day. Just do what you can, and it doesn't take much. It doesn't take much. I used to feel like I was always so busy. And I look back at my life now and I'm like, girl, you weren't busy at all. Your nervous system was just dysregulated. You were letting your ADD and your ADHD just kind of take hold of your mind. And I just allowed myself to run through dysregulation. And I told myself that I was busy. And the only things that I was busy with was the things that were for everybody else, my job, friends, family, just all these expectations and weird things that I had set up in my mind, but I wasn't really busy. Like I could have definitely made time for a 10-minute meditation, and even 5 minutes would have made a world of a difference. So hindsight's always 20/20, but I give myself those reminders now to remind myself of how powerful a little energy work goes. In the Matrix, we get so sucked into this space of like physicality. And when you're doing things in the physical plane, you have to put forth a lot of effort to really make things manifest. And in the energetic plane, you really don't. But you have to allow yourself to be in a state of clarity. You have to let yourself be in your vision. You have to let go of your expectations so that there's not all that resistance. And so let yourself have just a little bit of effort in the energy realm, and then go focus on other things. And because you're not focused on it, it'll come faster than you imagine. There's so many things, to remind ourselves of, because while in the moment we hear it, we're like, oh yeah, I know that, oh yeah, I know that. But it's like integrating that action into our day-to-day lives is what we're doing now. And so I just think all of these reminders are so beneficial. And again, a gateway doesn't matter, but it's here. So let's use it. I also noticed that my intuition, my telepathy is extremely heightened during Lionsgate. I feel everything. Everything. I find myself pivoting a lot in real time, reminding myself that my sensitivity is very heightened right now, that it's not mine. I don't have to carry it. I don't have to process it. I don't have to navigate it. Just let it leave your body the same way it came, which is it just showed up. One of the signs, and I've talked about this before, but for those that are new, I'll just give this reminder. One of the signs that you are tuning into collective energy and not really your own energy is when it just kind of comes up out of nowhere. I'll be in a really delicious mood. I'll be in a really great, playful mood. And then all of a sudden, I'll start to feel really irritable or start to feel sad or a little down or anxious. And because I understood where I was just previously, it's easy for me to identify that there's a wave of something coming through that's not mine, because my emotions don't move that way. I don't move from one emotion to the next sporadically like that. That tends to only happen when I'm tuning into other people's energy or when I'm tuning into collective energy. And, through the years of ascension, it takes going through some of those highs and lows of integrating and trying to heal collective energy before you kind of recognize, like, whoa, what am I doing? That's not really mine. And I don't have to go through all of this hardship. I can recognize it's there. I can utilize these signs and I can breathe my way through it. And when we do that, it does exit a lot quicker. I tend to move through collective energy within 30, 45 minutes. Sometimes if it's something really big, if there's something going on in the collective field, it's something big, it may take me a couple of hours, but it does move a lot quicker. Now, back when I used to attach to it, when I didn't let it be the collective's energy and I just assumed it was mine, I kind of chose the less awake stance of my body's energy and just assumed it was mine, and I assumed everything was mine. It would stay for 3 days. It would stay for a week. Sometimes it would be, 10 days and I'm sitting there going, why do I feel this? Like, I've never felt this way in my life. This isn't mine. And then all of a sudden it starts to click like, oh, that's not mine. That's not mine. Here I'm trying to heal this energy and process through this energy and navigate what's coming up and what do I need to look at. And then it's not even mine to begin with. So that heightened intuition is really present during Lionsgate. And while I do feel everything, I find myself quickly pivoting in real time to know when it's not mine. And I really enjoy that. I feel that it centers me, it grounds me, it kind of allows me to move through energy for the next few months, really centered in myself and knowing what's mine and what's not. And it's just much more of a pleasurable experience when we're in these really heightened collective times and you don't have to take that on as an empath. So what I want to say about that too, for those who are maybe really feeling strong energies at this time, let yourself just feel it. Let yourself get out of your brain. Stop trying to figure it out. That's going to relieve about half of the tension in your body. It's going to relieve about half of the resistance in your body, which means in letting that aspect go, you're already on the path to feeling better within a couple of hours. Let the mental battle of these collective energies go. They're not ours. A lot of things that are coming up right now, we've already gone through. The identity crisis, the why am I here? What are we doing? What's the purpose of this life? All of these energies are really coming up within the collective right now. And for most of us that are here listening to that message, this message, we've really processed through this energy already, and we aren't necessarily in that same space. Yet as the collective brings this energy back up, it is very familiar, because some of us were just processing this energy out 6, 8, 9 months ago. And so with it being so familiar, our psyche can want to attach to it and be like, oh, well, that really is mine. And yes, it once was yours. But give yourself a moment of pause and don't go into the nervous system dysregulation that might start to come up immediately. And let yourself try to recollect yourself and see which aspects of it really are yours, and what aspects you've really healed and let go. And are you just tuning into this as something that may be a little bit more intense because you've just cleared this pattern or this cycle yourself? With that level of awareness and slowdown during these energies, we are just really amplified into this next level of consciousness and self-awareness. And it really begins to serve us when it comes to our manifestations and having clearer energy come the fall. I touched on this briefly, but another thing that I really noticed during the Lionsgate energy is I break cycles really quickly. One of the examples that I wanted to give is one of my parents is wanting to have a family vacation where all of the kids kind of get together with their spouses and everything and go hang out at a house for a week, 10 days. And they're offering, to pay for it, and we would just have to make sure we get there and stuff. So it sounds like it would be really beautiful, but in all reality, our family isn't like that. On this particular side of the family, we just aren't that close. We've never had a relationship that was like that. So as an adult, taking that time out of my life to make that happen so that somebody else can just kind of, I don't know, I guess I'm just being really vulnerable right here, but like live in denial about what our relationships kind of really are like. I appreciate the gesture. I think it's very, very kind. I just find it a little unrealistic. So the people pleaser in me in this situation gets a little amplified because she doesn't want to seem like a bad person, but she also doesn't want to invest the time and money to have this vacation that's going to feel not as fun to her. And so I go through this battle of saying, no, that's not for me. And I've actually been going back and forth with this inner dialogue about this topic for months. And Lionsgate rolls around, and the people pleaser in me, that's healing. And all of the guilt that I was like drumming up over this situation just started to go away. And I just really was able to accept that she's trying to do something really beautiful and nice, and I accept that. But my relationship with my father just isn't like that. And going to a house for 10 days is not for me, and I'm not going to go, and it just has to be okay. And this is just one of the examples of how the Lionsgate has helped me really kind of anchor in something that I have been going back and forward with for months, and breaking this cycle of, saying okay and spending the money and taking the time and time off work and all of this to go do this for somebody else to be happy that I don't really have a relationship with. It's just not, and it doesn't hit my heart the same way. It's like I'm okay with it. And I really, really dig that. So if there's anything that's been going on in your life during these times, for me, there's a lot of family cycles going on. As I've looked and healed the inner child energy, I find that I've walked that path and really moved through that path. But there are cycles that I'm still connecting to in my adult journey that need to get broken in some of these places. And I see myself having an easier time really stepping through some of these cycles. And for some people, it may be, money. For some people, it may be manifestation. For some people, it may be their body and shifting their bodies. And for me right now, it's a lot of family dynamics coming up. So it's just very interesting that during Lionsgate every year, some of these issues, some of these topics keep coming up. And I just seem to move through them a lot easier at this time than any other time. Instant manifestation is coming up. I find things that I'm thinking about showing up in my reality in other places. Like I'll see it in a book. I'll see it on like a commercial that comes up on my YouTube. I'll just see these reflections of what I am manifesting. It's like the universe is really on point with going like, okay, keep going, I've got you, keep going. And it's really beautiful to see because it's like this instant encouragement that keeps leading me towards these advancements in my life that I've been seeking. And I just find that during this time, some of that instant manifestational energy is more noticeable, and I'm really enjoying sitting back and appreciating it and basking in it right now. And I can't wait to see kind of where it leads in the next week as I keep diving into this level of focus and this level of purpose. Another thing that I notice quite a bit at this time is reality shifts. So I will go somewhere that I go frequently and it'll look very different yet very similar. And this to me is one of the identifying markers that I've always gotten along my journey since back in the early 2000s it started, where it signaled to me that I have shifted something in my timeline. My timeline will literally start showing up to me differently. For instance, here in Austin, Texas, there is a statue on one of the streets that I drive by. When I first moved to Austin, that statue was blue, and it's made of all of these little tiles, and they're all placed together really beautifully and whatnot. And about 2 years into living in Austin, I drove by that statue, that same statue that I've always loved, that I've always appreciated and saw with my eyes as being blue. It's now yellow. And every time we go by it, I say to Teresa, hey, remember when that was blue? And she's like, oh, but it's yellow, and it's always just a signal and a reminder that I've shifted timelines. And so there's a lot of times and instances where I'll see something like this happening during this Lionsgate energy. So if you are noticing things like this happening in your life, no, you are not going crazy. Your timeline is shifting, and 9 times out of 10 right now, it's shifting for the better because we are on an ascension path. Years ago, it could be a little iffy, and I would say, it's much more contingent on where your vibration is as to where your timeline is shifting. But now I see that our timeline is shifting a lot more with these waves of energy and the downloads and upgrades that we're getting, which is showing me that these are being much more guided by source and the higher self than they are us in our individuality. So really just kind of taking it as a sign of the path expanding for you and your growth expanding and your higher self just kind of giving you a wink going, hey, you paying attention? So it's just such a really beautiful time. What I want to say is it is a time for all of us to really slow down. We are very masculine focused as a society. We always have been. And this is something that we are reorganizing and harmonizing within ourselves, within our cultures, and just within our planet in general. So I want you to pay attention to the places where maybe you are over masculinizing your life, where you are taking action as more of a dominant energy or a more productive energy than your intuition, than your connection to spirit, than your connection to source. There's really something to be said by bringing these two units together in more harmony. And I want to say a lot of the advancements that we are going through is because we are awakening to this divine feminine aspect within us. But when we go through life trying to kind of power through and figure things out all of the time, we end up putting ourselves back into a more dominant masculine energy. And yes, we all have our masculine and feminine, and having them in balance in an individual state is a very powerful thing. But when we create, when we express, when we act, when we move forward from this point on, the whole basis of this ascension is to do so from a very harmonized space, where we are acting from physicality, but also from spirit. And so I just want to make sure that we are reminded as we move through this journey that it's very important to keep coming back to that intuitive space, because we are so dominantly attuned to our masculine action-oriented energy that sometimes we act without being inspired. And when we are coming into harmony, we are going to take our inspiration and bring it into action. We are not taking our action and just trying to move forward with it in any way that we can. So if you do not have inspiration in your life, there are things that you can do. There are heart-opening activities you can do. There are visualizations that will help you open up your third eye. Opening up your third eye is going to open up a lot of visionary energy. But if you're overthinking, that is going to pull you back into a negative dominant energy of that third eye. So you're not necessarily in your harmony. Your sacral chakra is also going to get really activated when you bring in this creativity. So moving your hips, stretching your hips, allowing yourself to really be open in your womb area, in your stomach area, and birth these new energies. And in order to do that, there's a sense of stillness that really does have to come in. So I want to say during Lionsgate, really slow down and continue to connect to this divine aspect of you that is teaching you how to receive, that is teaching you how to balance yourself, that is teaching you how to be inspired before you act, and how to open up to that inspiration if that's the phase that you're in. I also just want to remind how powerful it is to meditate and visualize at this time. Visualizing yourself and your future reality allows you to see the person you are in that space, and it makes it a little bit easier to begin to connect with that aspect of you and really integrate what this person would act like in certain situations and what this person would respond like in certain situations, which is allowing us a more anchored approach to how we are merging with our higher self aspect. So definitely visualize. Meditation is also very powerful for those of us who have nervous system regulation things going on. I am the queen at healing my nervous system, but I also find in these really high energy times that even though I've done a massive amount of regulation on my nervous system, I will find myself getting easily dysregulated. I will easily get out of that space where everything kind of just starts to get wonky and feeling off. And it's not because we're not doing the work, it's just that these energies are really, really high. And so leaning back into meditation has allowed me to get myself into a calmer state. Now, For me, I like to channel in the morning. I like to go out and be in nature in the morning, and I would rather do meditations and breath work in the evening before bed. So that is kind of how I like to organize it. But it took me a while of doing meditations and breath work at different times of the day to see what really worked for me and see what I really just wasn't into at the time. So give yourself the opportunity to move things around in your schedule too, and just see what really fits for you. Never give up on a modality right away. I always like to explore things quite extensively because I feel like there's a reason it's brought to me. And if it's not for me, then it's gotta be for somebody else who's coming in that may need this information. Intentions and affirmations are extremely powerful during these gateway seasons. Taking the time to really write down and focus in on what your intention is for the day. How do you want to feel? How do you want to experience this day? You know, some people can get carried away. Well, I want this to happen, this to happen, this to happen. And I think in those instances, we are trying to control situations more than we are trying to set out an energetic intention for how we want something to kind of play out. When you're setting an intention for something, you want to stay loose about it, but you want to be very detailed. So think about how you want something ultimately to end up and let yourself focus in on it, write it down for just a moment, but then really let go of it. Setting an intent is very powerful because it really does allow your body, your psyche, your consciousness to have a focal point throughout the day. And I'll find myself even just setting my intention and moving on throughout my day. I'll get these random moments where it's like, oh yeah, that. Oh yeah, that. And so it's like my consciousness is reminding me to just kind of stay on track with what I had set out for experiencing for the day or receiving for the day. This Lionsgate portal is such an amazing time of year. It's a beautiful time of inner awakening, instant manifestations, and really activating your attraction to abundance. This year, it also lines up with some moon energy, and I just feel like it's going to be very powerful. We've been having massive M flares coming off the sun back to back to back, and a lot of geomagnetic activity going on, amplifying our body. If you're feeling really worn out right now, it's very natural because the energy is so high. We are shifting at such an accelerated rate, and there are many different activations going on cellularly, within our conscious expansion, and many other things. So give yourself a little break right now. Give yourself a little grace. Try not to be too hard on yourself, and just take it day by day. If you are interested in doing any activities on the portal of August 8th, the actual Lionsgate portal itself, I am going to be holding an Ignite ceremony that evening where we will be talking about these energies, diving in, and doing a beautiful group visualization together. We'll take a little time afterwards to integrate what had come up and what we were feeling. If you have anything that you would like to bring forward to the group, that would be a beautiful time. You can access our ceremony on my website, crystaltheenergeticalchemist.com, and you can also access it through the bio links in my social media. I am so grateful for you all. I hope you are taking care of yourself during these times. The energies are very amplified, and we are well along our way through this ascension. Taking things day by day has become a rule of thumb for me. One day I am flying high and feeling absolutely amazing, and the next day I am anchoring it and I am grounding it. And some days I have a little bit of a break in between, but lately it's been very, very intense. Make sure that you are honoring your body, honoring what it needs as far as clean water, nutrition, and rest. Honor your energy body and your emotional body. Place yourself in situations that are uplifting. And maybe now isn't the time to do things that you know are not going to be that. Give yourself a lot of peaceful sanctuary, tranquil energy right now. And really let yourself just soak it all in. I love you so much, and I'm so glad that I get to be here along this journey with all of you. Until next time, I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.